many of you have asked for forgiveness from that person that you hurt? Okay, how many of you have hurt somebody and not asked for forgiveness? Almost the same amount of people. Okay, so, and this is why this is so important, because really forgiveness isn't so much about the other person as it is about you. It's about you and what you're feeling and your appreciation and understanding of a number of divine principles. One of those is that in that you forgive, there is a space that is made inside of you to be filled with love and grace. This is very important. Do you have to ask somebody for forgiveness, or do they have to ask you for forgiveness in order to be forgiven? No. And so this is a very antiquated concept. Oh, I would have forgiven them. But they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask to be forgiven. So they weren't sorry for what they did. It has nothing to do with them being sorry. It has absolutely nothing to do with that at all. Or them acknowledging even any wrong that was done. And your forgiveness has to do with you. Asking for forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to that person and even ask them for forgiveness. Although that makes a bridge for you. Right? It makes a space for you. But in forgiving, we free ourselves from anger, disappointment. Chances are that if somebody hurts us and we feel the need to forgive them, whatever it was that they did has less substance and impact on us than the way it made us feel. So really it's about our feelings. Our feelings are hurt. Or we were made to feel a way that we're not really clear about why we feel this way. I'm angry. I feel as if I'm not valued, or I'm not appreciated or respected. I hear this a lot. That was disrespectful. That was disrespectful. Well, do you think that somebody intentionally goes out of their way to disrespect you? No. It has to do with your own self-esteem and your own self-confidence and your own awareness that you have allowed something that somebody has said to erode that. It has very little to do with really what they do. It has more to do with how you feel, which is in control of who? You. You're in control of how you feel and how you think. So by forgiving that, letting that go, you have now repaired within yourself that damage that you personally have caused, quite frankly. And brought your awareness to a situation of change within yourself and growth within yourself. Why did I let that hurt me? What's going on with me? That somebody saying something to me would hurt my feelings so much. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about even strangers can say stuff to us that will wound us. Now, we'll never see that person again. We'll never see that person again, but for some reason it sticks in our head. I was in the car in Tampa and I got lost, which happens to me a lot because I have absolutely no sense of direction. So I was in the wrong lane trying to get over, and somebody was behind me, and it was a young guy. And I noticed that young men especially have a patience about this long. And, you know, I'm trying to get over, I'm like waving at him and everything else, and he finally lets me over, and then he pulls next to me into the next turn lane, and he says, excuse the language, you big-nosed bitch. You're so stupid. Don't you know how to drive? I got so hurt. I was just shattered. I don't know what happened. I just allowed that outburst to really sink down into me very quickly. I had to pull over into the mall parking lot for a second to gather myself. I mean, it was so silly, and now I look back at that, and this is years ago, but I look back at that and go, what in the world was I thinking that I let something like that so rattle me? Someone who didn't know me, didn't understand my frustration clearly, because he certainly would never have said something like that if he knew how freaked out I was about missing my turn. You know, he probably would have said, oh, you poor thing. Go. So I mean, this is the things that we consider when we're working on forgiveness. Did I forgive this guy? Of course I forgave him. But I'll be honest with you, at that particular time in my spiritual growth, it took a while. It really stuck in my mind. I kept looking at my profile going, is my nose that big? Really? It was crazy. Of course I have a big nose. Of course I have a big nose. And I'm very proud of my nose. But it's kind of funny, the way that we allow those things to affect us. Now that's a silly thing. We can all laugh about it because it was intended to evoke that kind of response in you. But there are things that are said accidentally by people that we love, that are close to us. People whose opinions we really, really care about, that we treasure. And so someone says something offhandedly, especially to a child, and wounds them deeply. So now as an adult, what has happened? We've kept that. We've allowed that to define somehow who we are, what we can do, what we can't do. And we limit ourselves. Now, do you think that person even remembers? Like mom said something, you're so stupid. I'm stupid. That's what's wrong with me. I'm stupid. So you're a grown-up person and you still think you're stupid because your mom said you were stupid when you were 5? What have you done to yourself? Closed off all the opportunities for learning because of an offhanded comment. And this is an extreme situation, but we're saying, look at those opportunities in your life to say, why am I thinking this? Why am I doing this? Why am I allowing this when I am a vessel for divine light? There's nothing beyond your reach. God has forgiven you. Spirit has forgiven you. The Goddess loves you unconditionally, right? So you can extend that to others because you feel it. You live it. It's there. It's a knowing that exists within each of us. And that's why we have that powerful relationship to the divine that each of us have. Do we not want to extend that to somebody else? Especially somebody who may or may not have done something intentionally. That, in fact, didn't hurt them at all, but hurt us. And that we harbor that hurt for. So why is it important that we forgive? Because we want to be whole. We want to be healthy. We want to be healed. We want to be our best version of us, our most authentic self, our self that resonates with spirit and light, right? So that we can do everything that we need to do, that we have been anointed for in this lifetime. That's very, very important. Asking for forgiveness, is that not a beautiful thing? That's an awareness within yourself to say, I care about the other person as much as I care about myself. I would never hurt somebody intentionally. Never. And so if I have hurt any of you, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I know that sometimes we say things and we don't even realize that we've said them. And somebody will be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said that. I'm like, I didn't even know.
That's a Jersey.
It's a Jersey thing. But truthfully, we all do that. But if you're made aware, then shouldn't it be the onus on you as a spiritually awakened person, right? To say, that is not what I meant. That is not what's in my heart. That may have been what came out of me, but that was not sincere. It was not truthful. It was not mindful, right? It was not mindful. And it was not what my intention was. And so I ask you again to look at those things, that idea of forgiveness, and I also understand that it's a process. Some of us have been wounded deeply by behaviors that are very, very hard to overcome. Circumstances that were beyond our control, but we need to understand that they were beyond our control. And by forgiving them, that power is lost. The power of that circumstance, the power of that moment, the power of that pain. and that it's a process. It's not going to happen like that. It's not like, oh yeah, my dad abused me for 6 years and I forgive you now. I'm fine. I know that's not the way it works. I know that's not the way it works. But there has to be a conscious awareness of the fact that you are the one that is reliving that pain in the not forgiving. And in the forgiving, you release that power of the pain of a situation in your life. And then make room for healing to happen. But don't expect it overnight. Don't expect it overnight. But see the gains in your own behavior. See the allowing in your own behavior. Reach out in your behaviors to show that that's the direction that you want to move in. Or letting go. Be meditative. Be prayerful. Oh, do I not say this enough? It's like, you're a broken record. Yes, I am. Guess it works. It absolutely works.
Well, sometimes people do really stupid things like reply on threads and then realize after 8 hours later what they said and said, why did I do that? So, to make a comment, and I did that, was I read a post that you made that your air conditioning went out and you were looking for a place to hold service. And actually the question was, do you know anybody that can fix air conditioning cheap? But the way I read it was, do you know where we can hold service where there is air conditioning? And I'm like, oh, why don't we go in the park? Oh, wait a minute, I know of a place where we can go attend service, because in my mind I was thinking, well, you know, we're going to go to another church and experience another church, another place. We're going to go and check out other services. No. So I made all of these comments, and then I realized how stupid I was. So I wrote you back and said, oops, I'm sorry. Would you forgive me, please?
There is nothing to forgive.
I mean, that was like the ultimate of stupidity, and I really apologize for that.
No. But I have done that. I've read posts.
But
and
you
just
know, that was when I realized what I had said. I was like, oops.
But we all do that. We all
Please
have
forgive
done
me.
that. Yeah.
But you know, that's what happens. Sometimes people do things like that.
Absolutely,
Do we
all
forgive
do.
them, or do we go on and say, well, that person's stupid, we'll never hear from them again?
And that's the thing. If we're keeping in mind that we've misstepped, that we've done things and said things that are kind of goofy and then went, oh, what in the world was I thinking? Then we have to acknowledge that others are going to do those things as well. And offhandedly, it should not be a big deal. And if you're harboring those things, if those things are sticking, you know, with Vicki Lynn, if I was, well, I can't believe she said that to me. I can't believe she read that. I can't believe
I said it.
Then in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, why would that even bother me that much? That's what you should be doing. There should be a self-analysis there going on. Why would that, somebody not being able to read the post completely and fully, which I have done myself, bother me so much? What does that say about me? Does that say that I'm so stringent in my thinking that I can't allow for people to make the same mistakes that I make? What's wrong with you there? Those are things to examine about yourself. And so when you're having these kinds of upheavals, these emotional responses to situations in our life, we should be examining them. We should be examining them because a lot of them aren't our stuff. It has nothing to do with us. It has to do with that, whatever's going on with that other person at that particular time. And by forgiving, you give it back to them. Let them deal with it. Let them figure it out. Whatever that is. And if someone says something mean, they're being mean because something's going on inside them.
Or they're just being plain stupid.
Or they're just being stupid.
Yeah.
And they're not being
Sooner or later
mindful.
they'll
They're
figure
just
it
not
out.
being mindful.
Nothing.
Right?
They're
Not
just like,
thinking.
I'm gonna yell later.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that big a deal. But you can make it a big deal. You can make it a big
That's right.
deal. And you can nurture it. And you can grow it. It can make you sick. It can make you angry. It can make you fearful.
Sleepless at night.
It can make you sleepless at night. It can make you unbalanced.
And then sick, and then you
Yeah.
die.
And how horrible is that? To be angry and fearful, is that how we want to live our lives? That is not an awakened state.
I have issues with my sister,
Okay?
and I don't know how to get through it. I fight with my mother all the time because I'm so bitter towards her. And she's hurt me so bad through years and years. Then she hurt my son out of jealousy, and hurt me even more. So I don't know how to get over that.
Well, people can only hurt you if you allow them to hurt you.
That's what
Okay.
I told you last night.
You allowed that to happen. The other thing is this, there are two motivating factors in relationships and in reality: fear and love. Fear and love, that's all
Well,
there
that's
is.
the thing,
That's where stuff comes from.
I-
So if she feels the need to lash out at you or to behave or act out, then there's a fear factor there. There's some fear factor there. How do you combat that? How do you fight that? With love. With love.
Well, I've tried that, and my mother has told me, well, you keep going back for more. I said, but she's my sister, you know, and I just, you know, don't know how to
Yes,
get
but
through it.
because she's hurt you before,
Mhm.
you,
You harbor that.
yeah, and you
Oh.
wait for her to say
Yep.
one little word will trigger you.
What you want from her is her love for you.
Mhm.
That's all.
She's just
You
different, but
that's all.
they're very different.
She just, you know,
And that's
like,
okay. We
Yeah.
celebrate people's
They're
differences.
very different.
Yeah.
with my dad, when he was dying, she wasn't around.
So-
I was the one that was, Joanne, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, and I'm like, Daddy is not doing well. Well, this is the last thing that really did it, was I just seen him Monday. Don't you think he's exaggerating? Well, he died that Tuesday.
Well, that's unfortunate for her, but that doesn't have anything to do with you.
I know, but it hurts because it's just.
You want her to be
that
more
way.
Your
loving.
accountability is not your
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to accept
And
people
I-
for who they
I've
are.
said that,
And not everybody is as deep a well of emotion as you are.
And I've
And not
said-
everybody is as intensely affectionate as you are.
Right.
You know, some people are distant. Some people just deal with their emotions on a completely different level. We have to accept that that's who they are. You can love her still.
Well, I do love her.
Yeah, sometimes you can love people from afar too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you know that every time it creates havoc,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with saying, I love you very much, and not seeing them.
Yeah.
You can give yourself distance. You have the right to do that. Even if you forgive them, you still have the right to distance.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, I don't want the distance. I'm trying to get her, you know, and
But
it's
she
just-
has to
Doesn't
want
matter
it.
what
Yeah,
you
you
like.
can't change
She
people.
has to want it.
Yeah, you
better
can't
not
change
think
people
she's
if that's what you're
doing
hoping to do
something.
is
not
to
about
change her,
you.
make her see from your perspective. That's not going to happen. There has to be an acceptance there, a letting go, and say, hey, I totally get that this is who you are, and I'm all right with that. I'm
And I-
perfectly fine with that.
When I was younger, I used to say nasty things about my dad, you know, because we didn't get along. But every time when I said something nasty, I'd say, God, I don't mean it. What you were saying
Mhm.
before, you know, like you say things, but I would say, I don't mean it, I'm just mad. You know,
Once
to
you
myself,
decide
to
you're not,
God.
you can't put it back in.
Yeah.
Right, well, I never said it to him.
You
Well,
have
and
to
the
forgive
start-
yourself.
To get
Yeah,
over.
perfect. Forgive
Example
yourself.
of forgiving yourself.
And the whole process here is an awareness.
Right.
You know, because people behave these ways and they have these situations and circumstances and these interactions with each other, and they don't even think about why. So the first step in understanding and forgiving and moving to a place of wholeness and wellness is acknowledging these are things that happen with me and cause me to be unhappy or unbalanced or not in a good place, and I am going to take responsibility for that. And so it's about you. It's really all about you. And that's awesome that you're even in that place where you can say, hey, I totally guess what? This is what's going on with me. And I'm willing to look at it from a different perspective. And that's what I'm talking about the process is. You know, so first, you know, they say you can't really solve a problem until you admit that there's a problem, right?
Right.
First you have to identify there's something wrong here. So we've identified there's something wrong here. Something that can be fixed. And we have the tools to fix it. So I leave that with you, and thank you for sharing. Namaste. I went longer than I had anticipated.